Chapter 8 Insensitive Part 1 I'm 6 years old right now. There isn't much change in my lifestyle. I practice sword technique in the morning. If I'm free in the afternoon, I'll investigate my surroundings or practice magic techniques on the hill where the huge tree is at, blasting wind to increase the speed of my sword, creating a shockwave to let my body sharply reverse in direction, forming quicksand to hinder the enemy's footsteps. Some people think that sword techniques will not improve if they keep thinking of using dirty tricks, but I do not think of it that way. There are two good ways to become good at fighting games. The first is to consider ways in which the weak can beat the strong. The second is to raise my abilities and train. Right now, I'm thinking of the former. My goal is to beat Paul. Paul is very strong. Even though he's not mature enough as a father, he's first class as a swordsman. If I prioritize the second method and wholeheartedly train my body, it's indeed possible to win sooner or later. I'm 6. After 10 years, I'll be 16, and Paul will be 35. And after 5 years, I'll be 21, and Paul will be 40. There is no meaning if I win sooner or later, in this fashion. If I beat an opponent past his prime, he would just give an excuse like, ha, if I was still in active duty. There is only meaning if I beat the opponent at his peak condition. Paul is 25 years old right now. Even though he has left active duty, his body is in peak condition. I hope to win at least once in the next 5 years. It will be in sword techniques, if possible. Otherwise, I'll have to mix it up with magic spells and fight in close combat. While I think about it, I train against Paul's image in my mind again today. Part 2 If I go to the huge tree on the hill, I have a high chance of meeting Sylph. Sorry, did you wait very long? No, I just arrived too. After saying lines that are similar to those when a couple meet up, we start to play together. In the beginning, the Somar kid from the earlier and the other brats would come running to us in the midst of it. There were even upper grade primary school kids joining in, but they were all driven back. Every time Somar's mother would come running to our home to make a big fuss, I finally understood why. Even though Somar's mother claims to be talking about the kids' incidents, the truth is that she likes Paul. The kids' quarrels are just an excuse for her to come running to see him. What a silly thing. Somar probably feels very irritated as well. Every time he receives a graze brought over to us, looks like he's not trying to be an accident faker. It's quite embarrassing to suspect him of doing that. They've been driven back 5 times. They finally didn't come back after one abrupt day as a checkpoint. They occasionally watch us play from afar, but they don't talk to us if we come across each other. They seem to have decided to completely ignore us. With this, the incident appears to be resolved, and the huge tree on the hill has become our territory. Part 3 I began to teach him magic under the guise of playing. If he can control magic, then he should be able to fend off the brats by himself. In the beginning, Sylph couldn't only release elementary ranked magic 5 or 6 times before running out of breath, but in the span of 1 year, his mana capacity has grown considerably. Even if he practiced now for half a day, he would have no problems with it. There's a limit to mana capacity. There's very little truth in this line, but magic spells are a different thing. He is extremely weak in fire magic. He's very skillful in wind and water magic, but he's no good when it comes to fire magic. Why? Is it because of the elven blood within him? No. I learned during Roxy's class about the specialized system and the weak system. If it's based on these words, everyone has their own specialized and weak systems. I once asked him, Selp, are you scared of fire? Even though he replied with a no. When he showed me his palm, there was an ugly burn on it. When he was 3 years old and both of his parents were not paying attention, he grabbed a metal rod that was in the fireplace with his bare hand. But I'm not scared of it anymore. Even though he says that, he might fear it subconsciously. This experience might affect his weak system. If you consider the dwarves, there are many who have water as their weak system. The dwarves typically stay near the mountain areas, playing and having earth as their companion. When they grow up, they learn smithing from their fathers and live by digging mineral rocks as a livelihood. So their affinity is with fire and earth. However, their activities on the mountain will frequently be met with sudden hot springs or floods caused by huge rainfall, so they are especially weak with water. It's probably something like this, and not directly related to a race. Just to add on, I don't have any weak systems. That's because I was raised up comfortably. You don't really need to use fire to create warm winds and water, but teaching him such concepts are troublesome. So I just let him learn fire magic. There's no disadvantage in being able to use fire anytime. Salmonella will be destroyed if you heat things up. One doesn't want to be poisoned to death from food, so they need to thoroughly cook it. If you use elementary magic to cure poison, most of the poisons can be neutralized. Even though Sylph struggles with it, he doesn't complain and keeps on training. That's because he's the one who asked for it. Sylph, who's furrowing his forehead as he's using my rod, the one Roxy gave me, and my magic textbook, taken from home. Looks really beautiful. Even a male like myself thinks that way. He will definitely be very popular in the future. A jealous heart is a father's heart. A voice like that suddenly rings in my mind. I quickly shake my head. No, no. Jealousy has no meaning. Plus, it should always be this strategy. Ikemen's fishing bait strategy. With Sylph as the big Ikemen, and me as the regular dude, women will flock to me. Hey, Rudy, how do you read this? As I sing in my mind, Sylph uses his finger to point at the open page, looked up at me. That gaze is too powerful. Emergency, emergency. People want to hug and kiss him. Test. That's, snow avalanche. What does it mean? It refers to a huge quantity of snow that has gathered up on a slope. When the slope is unable to sustain its own weight, it collapses. During the winter, there's a snow that occasionally drops from the rooftop, right? This is the bigger size version. Is that so? Amazing. Have you seen it before? Snow avalanche? Of course not. I only saw it on the television. I let Sylph study the textbook at the same time. I can teach him how to read the book and write letters. Studying the language doesn't have any bad points. Even though I don't like what the literacy rate is in this world, it definitely wouldn't be like Japan's near 100% literacy rate. There is no magic spell that allows people to understand words in this world. The lower the literacy rate, the more important it is to know it. I got it! Sylph makes a triumphant shout. I watch him succeed at casting the intermediate ranked magic, Ice Pillar. A large ice pillar grew out of the earth, growing under the sunlight. You're very familiar with it now. Yep, but this book doesn't have what Rudy used. Sylph tilts his head and asks, I remember as he was talking about the spell that I used. It's about the incident with the hot water. I flipped the magic textbook and point at two places. It's written in here. Waterfall in heat hands. You use them together? He tilts his head. How do you chant both at the same time? Crap. I said it based on my instincts. Crap. I said it based on my instincts. That's right. I didn't describe how to chant two different words at the same time. Now I can't laugh at Paul for being an instinctive type. I demonstrated the voiceless incantations while casting two magic spells at the same time. Sylph's eyes widen. Voiceless incantations is definitely classified as a higher ranked skill in this world. Roxy is unable to do it, and it's also said that only one teacher in the Magic University is able to do it. So I shouldn't teach voiceless incantation, but Roxy's melded magic spells. I personally don't think it's too difficult, but achieving similar results should be enough. Teach me that. That refers to the one where you don't need to speak. Sylph doesn't think it that way. Of course. It appears that using two different magic spells at the same time is better than casting a single spell. Well, if I can't teach him, then he will have to choose melded magic by himself. Sure. Well, just use the same feeling when you're casting a magic spell. Gather the mana from your body to the fingertips, and try casting the spell with chanting to replicate the feeling. Once you gather the mana, try to remember what spell you're using and squeeze it out from your hand. Try doing that. Start with a water bullet. Did I teach him well? I can't explain it to him very well. Sylph closes his eyes while uttering a twisting his body like he's doing a funny dance. Trying to do something based on feeling is difficult. Voiceless incantation is processed in the mind, meaning that different people will have their own methods of doing it. I felt that foundations were important, so I let Sylph use incantations to cast magic for the whole year. As expected, it should be harder to use voiceless incantations the more you use chanting. It's like using your right hand to do things till now, and then changing to your left. It's an extremely difficult task to suddenly change. Succeeded! I succeeded, Rudy! Things didn't go the way I imagined. Sylph happily shouts and casts the water bullet spell repeatedly. Though he kept using chanting, perhaps it was only for 1 year, just like removing the training wheels from a bicycle. The sensitivity of a youth. Or was it Sylph's innate talent? Good. Well then, let's try all the magic that you've learned using voiceless incantation once. Yeah. Well, in any case, it will be easier for me to teach if he knows how to use voiceless incantation. And that's because I'm letting him do what I do. Suddenly, rain started to drizzle down. I turned my head upward. The skies have already been covered with dark clouds. The next morning, heavy rain starts to fall. Usually I pay close attention to the weather to ensure that we could reach home before it rains, but I was careless when Sylph managed to use voiceless incantation. This rain is really heavy. Rudy, you can make it rain, so can't you stop it? Even though I can do that, we're already wet. Besides, the crops won't grow if they don't receive rainwater. I won't interfere with the weather unless there are complaints about the weather being terrible. We run towards the Greyrat house while we talk. It's because Sylph's home is very far away. Part 4. I'm back! Sorry for disturbing. As I enter the gate, I see the maid Lilia with a big towel standing at the door. Welcome back, Master Rudeus. And your friend? Hot water has been prepared. Before you catch a cold, please go up to the second floor and dry your bodies. Master and Madame will be back soon. And I need to help them prepare. Are you fine by yourself? No problem. Lilia probably predicted that we would come home wet from the heavy rain. Even though she doesn't speak much, especially towards me, she's definitely a capable maid. Even if I don't tell her, she still takes another big towel out as she sees Sylph. We take off our shoes and walk barefooted, drying our hair and feet while climbing to the second floor. As soon as I enter the room, I see a huge barrel containing hot water. In this world, never mind showers, there isn't even the culture of bathtubs, only using this to rub and wash the body. According to Roxy, there seem to be hot springs. Well, for me, who doesn't like to shower, this is enough. As I strip naked, Sylph seems to be fidgeting around while blushing. What's wrong? If you don't take off your clothes, you're gonna catch cold, right? But Sylph still doesn't move. Is he shy when taking his clothes off in front of others? Or does he not know how to take off his clothes by himself? He can't be helped since he's only 6 years old. Here, raise up your hands. But, I let Sylph raise both of his hands and take off his shirt. His white skin without any muscle tone is revealed before me. When I try taking his pants off, he grabs my hands. No! Is he feeling bashful of being seen by others? I was the same way when I was young. During kindergarten, I felt really embarrassed being seen by other kids of the same age when showering naked after swimming lessons. But Sylph's hands are cold. If this drags on, he will really catch a cold. I forcibly take hold and pull on his pants. Stop! As I reach for his underwear, he hits me on the head. Sylph glares at me in tears as I look up. I won't laugh at you. Not about that. No! He is refusing earnestly. This isn't the first time I've seen him rejecting so much. I feel a little shocked. Something like that? A rule where elves cannot be seen naked? If it's something like that, then it's not good to forcibly strip him. I got it. And you must promise you need to change afterwards. What underwear is really uncomfortable. And if you get too cold, you might hurt your stomach. Okay. I let my hand go, and Self nods in tears. He's really cute. I really want to be in good terms with this cute kid. Suddenly, I feel like playing a prank on him in my heart. Isn't it unfair that I'm completely nude? An opening. I pull down his underwear in one stroke. Go! The naked pendulum. No! Self screams. The next instant, he covers his body. At that moment, what entered into my eyes wasn't the commonly seen pure short sword. Of course, it's not ominously patterned dark blade. What was there? No. What wasn't there is... That's right. Nothing. There isn't the thing that should be there. I've seen it countless times in my past. Sometimes there's mosaic and sometimes there's none. Sometimes there's mosaic and sometimes there's none. That one day, I would want to taste the real thing and let a black-glassed white cannon paper handkerchief meet one day. That is something I just saw. Self is... he is a she. My mind goes blank. Did I just do something that I can't laugh away? Rudeus, what are you doing? I vigorously snap my head back. Paul's standing there. When did he come back? Did he run after he heard the scream? I don't move a muscle. Paul doesn't move either. And my hands are holding onto her underwear. My cute baby boy is exerting its ferocious youth. I've already gone into a situation beyond justification. The underwear from my hand drops onto the floor. There's a heavy rain outside, but I can only hear the underwear quietly falling. Part 5. Paul's point of view. When I finished my job and reached home, I saw my son attacking his childhood friend, a young girl. I nearly scolded him without thinking it through, but I became cautious. Perhaps there was a hidden reason for this too. The previous failure cannot be repeated in any case. I handed the sobbing girl over to my wife and maid, and used the hot water and clothes to wipe my son's body. Why did you do that? I'm sorry. 1 year ago, when I tried to teach him a lesson, he showed a will to never apologize. But he readily did so now. His attitude is quite strange, too. Like vegetables pickled in salt. I want to know the reason. We got drenched. I was thinking the clothes should be taken off. But she didn't want to? Yes. Father has said before that you must be gentle to girls, right? Rudeus doesn't have any explanation. What did I do when I was around his age? I think there were words like but and except that. I was a kid who's always found excuses. My son really is splendid. Well, a kid like you will have some form of interest, but forcing is a no. Yes, I'm sorry. I won't do it again. I felt a little sorry after looking at my son, who looked like he received a shock. Being fond of a woman is definitely within my blood. I was so full of vigor and energy that once I see a cute girl, I would definitely try and go after them. Even though I have settled down now, I didn't know the meaning of restraint in the past. This is probably hereditary. It's perfectly logical that my son, who's full of reason, is probably agonizing over his instinct. Why didn't I notice this before? No, this isn't the time to sympathize with him. I need to teach him with my experience. You shouldn't apologize to Father. You need to apologize to Self, got it? Self? Will she forgive me? My son falls into a greater despair after saying that. Come to think of it, my son has been very attached to that kid. The incident 1 year ago was meant to protect her. In the end, he even got hit by his dad. From then onward, he played with her every day and protected her from the other children. He never put down his sword techniques and magic spells, but he still spared time for her. And when he got close to her, he even gave his own treasured rod and magic textbook as gifts. I can understand why he would feel down when he considered the possibility of getting hated by that kid. I'm the same too. I will feel down if I get hated. Don't worry, it's fine. You have never done anything mean to her up until now. If you apologize with sincerity, she will definitely forgive you. My son's face brightened up a bit. My son's so smart. Even if he commits this mistake, I'm sure he will definitely rescue this relationship. Furthermore, he might even make use of this failure to capture her heart. Such reliability and scariness. After my son finished the bath, his first line to Sylph was, "I'm sorry, Sylph. Because your hair is short, I always thought you were a boy." I thought my son was such a perfect person, but he is surprisingly super dense in some areas. This is the first time I thought that. Part 6. Rudeus' point of view. I apologized, consoled, and praised her before I was finally forgiven. Because Sylph is a girl. I'll call her Sylphie from now on. Her full name seems to be Ch.8. I actually mistook such a cute girl for a boy. It looked like Paul was completely speechless over my discernment of things. I didn't think that "you're actually a girl" incident would actually happen. What choice did I have? Her hair was even shorter than mine when we met. Even though her short hair isn't as trendy like in the modern world, her hair isn't as short as Monk's. She's never dressed once like a girl. Light brown shirt and pants, that's all. If she wore a dress, I wouldn't mistake it either. No, think rationally. She gets bullied because of her hair color, so she definitely wanted to cut her hair short, so it wouldn't be visible. Because of the bullying, she definitely wanted to run too, so instead of a dress, pants would have been more convenient. Sophie isn't very rich, so after making pants, there wouldn't be enough to make a skirt. If we met 3 years later, I wouldn't make this mistake either. I was completely into the idea that she's a cute guy, but actually there weren't any actions that seemed particularly androgynous. If she... forget it. Whatever I say is an excuse. Since I know she's a girl, my attitude must change accordingly as well. Whenever I see the tomboyish Sophie, I always feel a little strange. Sophie looks really cute. Isn't it better if your hair is longer? Perhaps if her appearance completely changes, my feelings can change too. So I suggested that. Even though Sophie doesn't like her hair, her emerald hair shines underneath the sun. I really wish she keeps her long hair. It would be best if it's in a ponytail or twintail. I don't want... But from that day onward, Sophie grew wary of me. She openly avoids it, especially when it concerns any physical contact. I really felt a little shocked since she was so obedient in the past. That's so. Then let's practice voiceless incantation magic today. Okay. I straightened out my expression and hid my emotions. Sophie only has me as her friend, so she can only play with me, even though she has some reservations about me. Since she's still willing to play with me, so I'll just let it be today. Part 7. Right now, my capabilities in this world are basically like this. Sword techniques, Sword God style, elementary ranked. Water God style, elementary ranked. Attack magic, Fire system, advanced ranked. Water system, Saint ranked. Wind system, advanced ranked. Earth system, advanced ranked. Healing magic, Healing system, intermediate ranked. Antidote system, elementary ranked. Healing magic is categorized into 7 ranks as expected, and it comprises of 4 systems: healing, barrier, antidote, and divine attack. But unlike attack magic, there are no cool names like Fire Saint or Water Saint. But there is something like a Saint ranked magic healer, or Saint ranked antidote healer. Healing is just as it sounds, a magic spell that heals wounds. At first, you can only heal scratches, but if you get to the Emperor rank, it seems like you can even regenerate missing limbs. However, even if you get to the God rank, you can't revive dead things. Antidote is also the same as it sounds. Curing poison or sickness. At higher stages, you can even create poison or medicine to cure poisons. Status afflictions related to magic seems to be the Saint ranked and above, and very difficult to learn. Barrier magic is magic that raises one's defense, and creating a defensive wall. In simple terms, it's support magic. Even though I'm not very clear about the details, I roughly know that if I can increase the speed of cell regeneration to treat light wounds, or create access chemicals in the brain to lessen the feeling of pain, Roxy doesn't know how to use it. The divine attack system seems to be the magics that affect against spirits or evil races, but it is kept secret by the divine priest fighters. The Magic University doesn't teach it either, though Roxy isn't very clear about it. Even though I have never seen spirits before, it seems they are really ghosts in the world. If you don't understand the logic, you can't use voiceless incantation. It's really inconvenient. Plus, even though there's a logic to attack magic, I don't know if the other magics also have their own set of logic. Although, I know magic is something that seems to be able to do everything. I have no idea what I can change to achieve this. For example, making something to float up or sucking it into my hand using the mental abilities to control it. I feel like I can replicate it, but I'm not someone with telekinesis, so I don't know how to do it. Just to add on, I am very hazy over the process of healing wounds. That's why I'm unable to use voiceless incantation with healing magic. If I had the knowledge of a doctor, I might be able to use voiceless incantation with it. The other types are also possible to replicate with magic if you know the relevant details. Or perhaps if I participated in sports, my sword techniques can advance a step further. When I think of it, I feel like my previous life had wasted a lot of time meaninglessly. No, it's not a waste. It's true that I didn't work or go to school, but I wasn't always hibernating, and I had many interests and played many games. When others were busy working and studying, the game's knowledge, experience, and way of thinking could be used here in this world. Should be, though it's not of any use now. This is an incident that happened during Paul's training. Part 8. This is an incident that happened during Paul's training. Ah, I let out a sigh. I thought my open sign would make Paul angry, but he's grinning from ear to ear. Let me guess, Rudy. You feeling sad that you're being hated by Sylphiette? I didn't sigh because of that reason. But even if that's not true, with the incident with Sophie is part of my troubles. That's right. My sword techniques aren't improving, and I'm being hated by Sophie. Of course, I feel like sighing. Paul smiles like a Cheshire cat and sticks the wooden sword into the ground. He leans onto it and looks down at me. It can't be that this guy is trying to treat me like a joke, right? Father, can you help me think of an idea? My mind starts moving like clockwork. Father equal Paul, very popular. Zenith can be said to be a beautiful woman. There's the incident with Miss Ada. Even Lilia. Even Lilia, who got touched on the butt, was happy. Is there some sort of secret to not getting hated by a girl? The way of offline life? Well, because he belongs to the instinctive type, I might not be able to understand it, but perhaps I can consider his suggestion. If you would please. Should I say it? Should I lick your boots? No, hey, why are you getting so subservient suddenly? If you don't tell me, I'll tell Mother about you oogling Lilia. This time it's high-handedness. Wait, what? Did you say that? Okay, I got it. It's my bad for putting on airs. I'm just baiting you with the oogling of Lilia. Could it be adultery? Ah, well, I already said that this guy is super popular. Let me listen to the popular guy's lecture. Listen well, Rudeus. Women. Yes? Sometimes like men to be strong, but they like the weak parts about them too. Oh, I heard something like this about motherly instinct. You've only shown her your strength to Sylphia, right? Is that so? I didn't realize it myself. Think about it carefully. If you're being compelled by someone who's apparently stronger and shows off their desire, what will happen? I'd feel scared. Right. He's talking about that day when he became a she. So, you also need to show off your weakness. Protect someone with your strong points. While you let your weakness be protected by the other person. You must build that kind of relationship. Oh, that was easy to understand. Makes people feel like Paul isn't the instinctive type. Just being strong isn't okay. Just being weak isn't right either. You must be both to get popular. But how do you show off your weakness? That's easy. Aren't you being troubled now? Yes. Just tell your bottled up troubles to Ch.8, and it will be done. Tell her that you're feeling low and very troubled because she has been avoiding you. Then what happens next? Paul laughs, a malicious smile. If it all goes smoothly, she will approach you on her own. She might even console you. Then you will be revived. No one will be unhappy when you get your spirits up. So that's the answer. Using my attitude to control someone's feelings. Incredible. But the plan might not succeed, right? But, but what if it doesn't work? Find me again and I'll teach you the next step. There's actually a second trick? Schemer. This guy really is a schemer. I see. Then I'm gonna head off. Go ahead. Paul shoots me with his hand. I run off, burning with anxiety. What did I teach to my 6-year-old son? A voice seems to come from behind. Part 9. I reached the huge tree too early. Sophie's not here yet. I usually bring a wooden sword along with me and wipe my body before I come here, but I'm full of sweat right now. What should I do? I have no choice. I should start practicing in my mind. I swing my wooden sword in my mind. During combat, first I should show off my strength, then my weakness. Weakness. How should I do that? That's right. I need to make myself look despondent. And then what next? The timing? Should I do it all of the sudden? That would be too abrupt. Maybe I should adjust it accordingly to the flow of the conversation. Can I do it? No, I must do it. I swing my sword as I think in confusion. I don't know when my grip suddenly turned weak. The sword slips out of my hand. The sword lands where Sophie is at. My mind turns blank. Oh, what should I do? What should I say? What's wrong, Rudeus? Sophie looks at me with her eyes wild. What? Asking me why I came here? I'm just feeling it's regrettable or something if you can't see Sophie's cute expressions. No. I'm not talking about that. Your sweat? Sweat. What? I pant and approach her, but she shows frightened expression and retreats. Just like before. She doesn't want me to approach her and backs off. Even though I'm so smitten by you in this way. Pull back in this way. I'm just kidding. I wipe the precipitation off my forehead. My breathing becomes stable. Good. I display an expression of full-stricken grief. Place my hand on the tree and make a figure of self-reflection. My shoulders drop, and I sigh heavily. Recently, Sophie is really cold. Silence persists for a while. Is that enough? Is that enough, Paul? Should I have been weaker, or was it too fake? My hand gets gripped tightly from behind. I feel the soft and gentle warmth. I turn back, and Sophie is right there. Whoa! Sophie hasn't been so close for a very long time. Oh, son, I made it! Because recently Rudeus is a little strange. Wait, I'm aware of that point. Needless to say, I didn't treat her the same way recently. From Sophie's point of view, maybe my attitude changed a lot, like knowing that the opposite person is a wealthy woman searching for a marrying partner. She will definitely feel uncomfortable, but what sort of attitude should I use? I can't do it if it was in the past. With such a cute girl, how can I not be tense? The same age and a cute young girl? I really don't know how to get along with her. If I'm at the adult standpoint, maybe if Sophie was older, I might be able to use some knowledge from Eroge and handle it. If she was a boy, I could use experience when I was younger. I could use the experience when I was with my younger brother. But she's the Asuna Jimmy. And she's a girl, of course. I played games that get along with girls in H ways, but that's nothing more than a delusion. Also, I simply don't want to have a relationship with her in that manner. Sophie's just too young. She's not in the AT field of defense. It's temporarily something like that, but I'm looking forward to the future. Let's throw all that away first. She's a kid being bullied. Nobody stood on my side when I was bullied. so I hope to become her companion. Regardless of a boy or girl, this is the only thing that will change my mind. But it's difficult. I want to treat her the same way as before. I'm also a boy, and hope to build a good relationship with girls. For tomorrow. I don't understand. What should I do? If I had just asked Paul about these matters. Sorry, but I don't actually hate Rudeus. Sophie? After I showed off an expression of uselessness, Sophie strokes my head, and she smiles at me with relief. A gentle smile. My heart skips a beat. Even though it's apparently my fault, she apologizes to me. I grab her hand tightly. Sophie looks up at me, blushing. So, we can be like before? The effect from asking this sentence, when she looks up at me, is powerful. Enough to make my heart determined. I am determined. That's right. She hopes for the usual, to maintain the same as before. I need to treat her like before. As much as before. Let her not be afraid and awkward. I need to hide the fact that I'm a guy to get along with her. It can only be that. It should only be that. Let's do it. A Donkon protagonist. Hope you guys enjoyed listening in on some Mushoku Tensei. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you guys in the next one.